sometimes your music has an insanely kind of slow release before it actually connects with people, and then when it does connect with people, they really get it.
Like acid.
Yeah, exactly. It changes their minds completely.
Acid that works in 10 years.
Legal acid musically. It's like 5-6 years since Virtue came out, but it doesn't really feel like the Voidz were missing in that period. I feel like every kind of 6 months or so I've been playing a song that's come out, or there's been a video or some kind of collaboration, or you've been on the road, but no album until now. What changed? How did we get to this bit where there is a new record?
I think our idea was that we were just going to do singles for a while and have a couple of songs in the tank and record it, and if ever it was time to kind of put out an album, we would. And so I guess now is that time. Phase 2.
Who decides? Is it a collective thing of everybody being like, yeah,
well,
like we
God decides. The
tells
universe. I don't know. I just, I think we wanted to, I think you work on an album and it's such a intense, long process, so many songs, so many children, which one to love more than the other. And then you put it out, and in the internet age, you know, people can kind of forget 40 hours later. So it was almost, I think the thinking was maybe one song at a time, and we can build things around singles. But anyway, yes, so album, I guess we decided people would probably pay more attention. So we put them all together.
that idea of a song or a melody coming to you for the first time. How does that happen? Do you have to have an instrument in your hand in order for that to happen, or can it just be there in your head at any given point?
I get ideas all the time. They can happen without an instrument, but generally developing the harmonic structure of things and is with an instrument. So I think traditionally I would write with an instrument, but over the years it just, you know, sometimes a couple of times I've had a dream where, you know, sometimes they can be wonderful, and sometimes I've had dreams like that where it's like, wow, this guy came to me, or maybe it was some other famous person, or like, you know, someone that I was a fan of that, you know, played a song in my dream, and I would wake up and think, wow, that was a cool song, and I'd be like, oh wait a second, that doesn't exist. I made it up. So you kind of like ripping off songs from your own dreams.
Can you remember it though? That's always the problem with dreams, isn't it?
Yeah, I have a pretty good memory with music stuff.
So that's happened a couple of times then. A couple of songs have been born from fragments of dream that
Sure,
you
yeah.
have. That's cool. There's definitely a law that Voidz fans have with your band where people are obsessive about it in quite a cool way. You know, like the comments and the Reddit threads, and my friend sent me a sound check video that you did in like Toronto 5 years ago, and it's got like 200,000 views, and it's just you on auto-tune doing a mic check, but people love it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like you've tapped in over the past 10 years or whatever it is. You have kind of cultivated this world that people are now living inside, for want of a better word. Do you know what I mean?
That's cool.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, I think we kind of are trying to do something, you know, it's like it's got elements of kind of like jazz improv thing that you kind of want to go see. It's not like, you know, cookie cutter pop song thing, but I think it's got new things, and it's kind of also kind of classically trained with new technology. So it's just a mixture of a lot of things, and I think we're still kind of honing it in and exploring it and trying to make it kind of catchy and palpable, not just experimental weirdo art for art's sake. So there's this kind of, I don't know, thing that I think people that are craving what the promise of the internet could have been, but is not quite, can kind of access, I guess.
Is there a battle of the mind inside your head and then the band collectively about making music that is easily accessible, and then making music that, like you just described, is people have to invest time and think about it more. Because I would say that you're a songwriter. We know from the last 20 years with you, you can write melodies that clearly connect with millions and millions of people.
Well, thank you. I think we're getting there because we sometimes you approximate and you make a mistake and you go either too weird and then you go back and think, "What? I don't even want to listen to that," or you go too kind of, "Oh, people are gonna like this," and then you go, "Why did I try to make something for what I thought other people would like? It's not even that good." So you can definitely kind of make mistakes, but I think the goal is to just do something that you feel artistically is powerful and inspiring, like if you were watching it.
It's interesting though, because I think with the Voidz, people are the Tyranny, which came out in 2014, it's 10 years old. I feel like it's quite overlooked, that album, and people are only really just getting what the idea was behind that record and what the music is. It's like sometimes your music has an insanely and a slow release before it actually connects with people, and then when it does connect with people, they really get it. And you've had it both ways,
Like
because
acid.
yeah, exactly, it changes their minds completely.
Acid that works in 10 years.
Legal acid musically,
Good.
acid for the ears.
Good things on all levels eventually, like whether it's Star Wars or Thriller, just kind of things that are popular and kind of cutting edge, I think are very inspiring to everyone, and it kind of moves things artistically, politically, consciousness of a society wise in positive directions, even if it's marginal, and it's like weird protest music on the margins coming out of it.
Have you ever done it completely differently, where you are sat on your own with no other input from other musicians, and you just write a song from start to finish, and I don't even want to change anything about this, let's just record it?
That's probably happened more with the Strokes, but that happens sometimes, yeah.
Do you like both ways? Because to me, as a non-songwriter, it's like one is Venus and one is Mars. On one sense, you could be in the room with 5 other people throwing around ideas, and in another sense, you could be completely on your own, nobody else saying this is
But
good,
the
this is
irony
bad.
is the Strokes songs, I was on my own. Those demos I did all by myself. They sound very close to the record.
Yeah.
And so, and then the Void sometimes, a lot of it is just now stuff that my dream has always been to just work on like kind of harmony, melody, and then kind of someone else writing the drum beats because someone should be better at the drums than I am, you know what I mean, type of vibe. And someone else kind of doing kind of complicated chord structure. I can do that. I do both, but the irony is that the weird thing that I feel, the frustration that you're feeling is not like in the reality of doing both. It's in the perception that like that I'm always fighting, that it feels like almost like the Voidz is like me alone and the Strokes was like me filtered through other people, when it's kind of the other way around.
There is something with your music that I love, and as a listener, I can't work out how you do it, but Flexocist, I think, is quite a good example. To me, there's a lot going on inside that song, and my brain can kind of unpack it, but I have to really think about it. Different time frames, a shift, and the song suddenly goes off into another universe completely.
Those moves aren't us trying to kind of do something crazy. It's things that happen naturally that we did just reflexively, organically, and we thought, "Oh, that was a cool thing we did." And so, they're kind of you can trace them back to like these live moments, but then when people hear it, it almost sounds like we're trying to do so.
Yeah.
But just like us playing, it's just kind of that's just us like jamming, and it's just like sounded really good, and we're like, cool, that should be what the verse is. There was like a weird part where kind of we were like mismatched playing some clashing chords, and it was like, ooh, this is a really
I think those are the bits that I mean, the
strange.
bits where it's like, this shouldn't work, but it kind of does.
Well, that's the thing is that happened. We played it. It happened where it happened naturally in the song, and we were like, whoa, that's cool. It wasn't like, "This song is too normal, we need a weird thing, play some wrong chords, and let's just jam it in," and I don't know, I hope it doesn't sound like that, but when when I hear it described, I feel like that's what people are kind of caricaturing, but the irony is
You can't caricature
it's
that
a
because
lot it's like live exploration. It's
yeah,
natural, it's kinda how we
yeah.
bounce off each other, we play. We listen and talk about these kinda cool, weird things that are like but we think are really mind-blowing and powerful and inspiring, and then we kind of are doing our version of it, and it's hit or miss, but ideally the hit ones make it to records. I don't know.
There's that song, Russian Coney Island,
Mm.
which is not on the new record, but there is a live version of it floating around, and it's like a 10-minute live song that I feel like is full of those little mistakes because you're road testing it at that gig, and you can kind of hear it in like your vocals and some things you're singing. You're kind of testing out melodies. I did see that in an Instagram post the other day, written on a whiteboard behind you. So clearly, it's like it's in the ether, right?
Oh,
Doing a
detective.
little bit of detective digging here.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned that because I was literally working on that yesterday.
Serious?
Yeah,
No way.
I'm kind of like tired because it was our last kind of studio day before I gotta ship out, and I was trying to. It's almost done.
There's a bit in that song talking about what you were mentioning before about little mistakes that might happen live that you sometimes carry through to records. There's a lyric right at the start that you sing where you mention being too tall or something like that on
Oh
the
yeah, because I
live
hit
version.
my head.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because you're playing in a room with a tiny,
yeah.
a low down ceiling.
Yeah, I
Did
think
that make the cut in the recorded version?
you know what? No,
Oh,
but it's not finished. So thanks for reminding me.
I feel like with the Voidz you are very relaxed. Like I've never seen a Void show or seen footage of a Void show where you have seemed tense, particularly.
I think that's an act, but cool.
Really?
I guess maybe in some ways it's where I want to be, but I think you're always kind of just you have to. I mean, some natural performers, I'm sure, I've heard, some people. I feel natural on stage. That's not me. Well, you're being judged. It's hard to just even walking across the stage.
Yeah, man, I can understand that.
Well, I'm just saying the analogy for just walking. You walk down the street, you don't think about it, but you're walking on stage and you're like, the legs in my muscles. It's like I've never done this before. And there's like that element in general.
We need to talk about the Flexocist prophecy video.
Okay, am I in trouble?
The Mac.
We need to talk about this
Yeah.
prophecy
I need to pull
Flexocist
you up
situation.
on this.
I've been getting calls from corporate, and
we're going to need to take that down.
I'm not surprised.
How long did that take to film? It's like 15 minutes long. You have Mac Demarco dressed as the devil. Your character is like this. How would you describe your character?
Oh man, it was like 14 different journeys that converged into this kind of double header. There's been comedy sketches where it's like the devil is writing a song. I think there's been like a Will Ferrell one, so I just thought I could really write some songs and be like, people are trying to sell their soul, and like the devil is offering these kind of songs, and I had these like goth songs in mind, and I made like a fake kind of quick goth. I think actually we used Alien Crime Lord.
Oh yeah,
like a fake
to the very start, yeah.
Yeah, and like a fake, Drake, like I know, that kind of stupid, like whatever.
Some of the lines in it that Mac says, because there's that whole bit. There's like the script as well.
Oh
as
man,
the
that was
songs.
that was all him. That was
Was it him?
The middle part?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Really?
Yeah, he was just riffing. It was.
That's some of the most obscene I've ever heard in my entire life. Wow, Mac Demarco.
I know. It was pretty magical.
There's a definite sense of humor going through your writing in the Voidz. There are some lines that you sing that make me laugh, and I don't know if they're intentionally funny or not, whether I just interpret them as funny. But it comes to life very much in that video. It's darkly comic.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean? But then there's a really serious political side to your music as well. And that song, "When Will the Time of These Bastards End?" which is on the new record. The vocals on that song are really interesting. I mean, I had to ask Ben. I was like, is Julian doing all of the singing on that song? Because there's so many effects and pitch shifting and vocoder and stuff like that.
It's just a pedal I was using that
Oh, really?
I actually don't use it anymore because it has a tendency, it has one flaw that it goes half a step in the wrong key randomly. So it's kind of created like a nightmare on stage sometimes.
And it sounds terrible when that happens, like to the point of like, no, this cannot happen.
Well, it's like I'm singing in the wrong, I have auto-tune to the wrong key. Yeah, no, it's cacophonous.
Because that could be one of those things I was going to say, or is that actually one of those live mistakes where actually it kind of works out and it sounds all right, but evidently not.
I think it happened on a Stroke show too, because I was using it on like a couple of the new things or something. I like having it sometimes when we jam, honestly. But I think it was like there's like a male and female, so there's like the and then the chipmunk.
Yeah.
And I think it was like accidentally someone had like kicked it,
to the wrong one.
It was like, so the first, I think we did a show and they were like, was that on purpose? That Hard to Explain was like chipmunk voice? And I was just like, oh, Jesus Christ.
What is it about the effects on the vocals that you like so much?
When it comes to melodies, certain melodies are benefited by real sing. Like, for example, you know, especially, I don't know why it was coming to mind, is like those British kind of like hit me with your rhythm stick, you know, like those kind of you know what I mean? You can't, if you put auto-tune on that, it'll sound like garbage because it's like the personality, it's almost not a note, you know? And then, but then certain melodies on the flip side of that, I noticed, you know, years ago is when it started, they wouldn't even be that good, but then somehow like Broadwaying them, like auto-tuning them was just like, whoa, that actually has its own thing. So I kind of run every melody almost through the test, and some are good without, and some are good with.
No way.
And so it's just kind of like a coin flip. It's hard to predict.
Interesting process. It's funny that you just, that hit me with your rhythm stick bit that you just sang. To go back to Russian Coney Island, when I watched that, I was like, man, they should do the drums like Hit Me With Your Rhythm Stick on that song. That kind of like, it's so soulful and disco-y, but you look at them and they look like the least soulful people on
Are you a producer? Would you?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Well, let's do something.
Of course. Let's
I'll have my people contact yours.
Overlord executive producer.
Yeah.
Come in. Just your new moniker. Yeah.
All right. Cool. Thanks, Jules.
Thank you, man.
Good chatting. Enjoyed that.
See you in the studio.
Yeah. I'll be down 3 p.m. today.
Need your help.
Get to work on your
I
lyrics.
like the ideas. Take them from anywhere.